Good evening, everybody. My name is Stan the Man, and you have tuned into Real Talk. Today, we're going to talk about inventors that made our lives a whole lot easier than what they would have been if our people had never come across these shores. We're going to have a lot of fun. A lot of good information is going to be passed down. We're going to talk about a few people that really did some really great things that made our lives a lot easier. My name is Stan, and this is Real Talk. Hi, my name is Stan. This is Real Talk. Let's talk about these inventors that made our lives a lot easier. Okay, most people have heard about famous inventors like the light bulb, inventions like the light bulb, the cotton gin, the iPhone, but there are countless others, often overlooked inventors that make our daily lives easier. Among the creative inventors behind these devices are African American inventors. From the traffic light to the ironing board, see a list of products that have sprung from the minds of Black inventors. Okay. Um, First, let's take a look at the ironing board. Improved upon board invented by Sarah Boone in 1892. The ironing board is a product that used possibly just as much as it is that is overlooked. In the late 19th century, it was improved upon by Sarah Boone, an African American woman who was born enslaved. Um, we are very, resilient people. You know, given the fact that we were in chains, we still did great things. One of the first Black women in U.S. history to receive a patent, she expanded upon the original ironing board, which was essentially a horizontal wooden block, originally patented in 1858. With Boone's 1892 edition, the board featured a narrow and curved design, making it easier to iron garments, particularly women's clothing. Boone design would morph into the modern ironing board that we use today. So, ladies and some men, you can thank Sarah Boone for improving upon the ironing board. There you have it. Okay, let's talk about home security systems. Um, Home security systems co-invented by Mary Van Britten Brown in 1966. 1966. Before security systems became a fixture in homes, an African American nurse, Mary Van Britten Brown, devised an early security unit for her own home. She spent many nights at home alone in Queens, New York, while her husband was away, and felt unsafe with a high rate of crime in her neighborhood. On top of that, police were unreliable and unresponsive. You know, you can say that today for the most part. So she created a device that would help put her mind at ease. In 1966, Brown invented a system that used a camera that could slide into and lock through four peepholes in her front door. The camera view would then appear on a monitor in her home as she could survey any potentially unwanted guests. She did in 1966 what we're doing today. That's amazing. She added other features to the system, including a microphone to speak to anyone at the door, a button to unlock the door, and a button to contact the police. She and her husband took out a patent for the system in the same year, and they were awarded the patent 3 years later in 1969. Home security systems commonly used today took various elements from her design. Okay. Now, this guy saved a lot of lives. And you could say he's saving lives even today. And he's been going for a long time. The three-light traffic signal, invented by Garrett Morgan in 1923. With only an elementary school education, Black inventor and son of an enslaved parent. See, his parents were slaves. And he only had an elementary school education. But look what he went to do. Garrett Morgan came up with several significant inventions, including an improved sewing machine and gas mask. However, one of Morgan's most influential inventions was the improved traffic light. Morgan's was the first three-light system that was invented in the 1920s, resulting in widespread adoption of the traffic light we take for granted today. Thanks to the success of other inventions, Morgan bought and car and as a motorist, he witnessed a severe car accident at an intersection in the city of Cleveland, Ohio. In response, he decided to expand on the current traffic light by adding a yield component. So that's the yellow light situation, warning oncoming drivers of an impending stop. He took out the patent for the creation in 1923, and it was granted to him the following year. So there you have it, the three-light system: red, yellow, and green. Morgan was a genius with an elementary school education. Here's another guy that did great things. The refrigerated truck, invented by Frederick Mckinley Jones in 1940. Frederick McKinley Jones. If your refrigerator has any product from your local grocery store, then you can credit African American inventor Frederick McKinley Jones. Jones took out more than 60 patents throughout his life, including a patent for the roof-mounted cooling system. Well, I didn't know that. Wow. That's used to refrigerate goods on trucks during expanded transportation in the mid-1930s. He received a patent for his invention in 1940 and co-founded the U.S. Thermal Control Company, later known as Thermo King. The company was critical during World War II, helping to preserve blood, food, and supplies during the war. That's amazing. The automatic elevator doors, invented by Alexander Miles in 1887. The use of elevator doors, elevators in everyday life keeps people from committing long and grueling climbs up several flights of stairs. However, before the creation of elevator doors that close automatically, riders riding a lift was both complicated and risky. Before automatic doors, people had to manually shut both the shaft and elevator doors before riding. I remember getting in a elevator that had to do just that when I was a younger man, and it wasn't too bad, but it was bad enough. Today you get in and don't even think about it. Before forgetting to do so led to multiple accidents as people fell down elevator shafts. Wow. As the story goes, when the daughter of African American inventor Alexander Miles almost fatally fell down the shaft, he took it upon himself to develop a solution. In 1887, he took out a patent for a mechanism that automatically open and close elevator shafts doors. His designs are largely reflected in elevators used today. Wow. The electric microphone, co-invented by James E. West in 1964. This is interesting. Even for those who aren't quick to pick up a mic during karaoke, microphones are used every day to communicate over distances far and wide. And the vast majority of microphones used today, including the microphones used in phones, cameras, use a microphone co-invented by a black man, Dr. James E. West, was tasked with creating a more sensitive and compact microphone while working at Bell Labs in 1960. Along with his German colleague Gerhard Sessler, West invented the foil electric microphone, which was considerably less expensive to produce than the typically used condenser microphones. 2 years after it was invented, the final model of the microphone was developed in 1964. They patented the landmark invention. Only 4 years later, the new microphone was in wide production and was being used in hearing aids, tape recorders, most telephones, and baby monitors. The carbon light filament, invented by Louis Latimer in 1881. The light bulb itself was perfected by Thomas Edison, but the but the innovation used to create the longer lasting light bulb with the carbon filament came from an African American inventor, Louis Latimer. Latimer, the son of formerly enslaved people, began to work on a patent law firm after serving in the military for the Union during the Civil War. Wow. He was recognized for his talents drafting patents and was promoted to head draftman, where he co-invented and improved upon bathrooms for railroad trains. Oh, he improved bathrooms for railroad trains. So I guess you can thank Mr. Lewis Latimer, every time you go to the bathroom on a railroad train, if you're taking a long trip across country, thank Mr. Latimer. His successes will garner him further attention from the U.S. Electric Lighting Company, putting him at a company in direct competition with Edison. In 1880, while there, Latimer patented a new filament for the light bulb, using carbon instead of more incendiary materials like bamboo that were commonly used for filaments. The addition of the carbon filament increased the lifespan and practically light bulbs, which had previously died after a few days. In 1884, he went on to work with Edison at the Edison Electric Light Company. There you go. You can thank Mr. Lewis Latimer for long-lasting light bulbs. There you have it. Color IBM PC monitors. And gigahertz chip. Co-invented by Mark Dean in 1980 and 1999. Before flat screen and high definition LCD monitors were the norm, PC displays were limited to screens with no color that were tethered to computers with limited processing power. That all changes thanks to Black inventor and engineer Mark Dean. Dean began working for IBM as a chief engineer in the early 1980s, making up a team of 12 who would develop the first IBM PC, in addition to helping create IBM's original machine in his early years with the company. He also worked to develop the color monitor and led the team that developed the first gigahertz processor. The massive chip built in 1999 would allow for higher processing rates as faster speeds within PCs. And there you have it. 10 great 10 great inventors that make our lives much more easier. Man, I can't imagine getting into an elevator and having to close 2 doors before it would move. I guess some people probably got lazy and decided to move the elevator without closing the doors. Is why those accidents probably happened. I don't know, but now you just get into an elevator and the doors automatically close. That's huge. Even something as simple as using an ironing board that makes it much more easier to iron your clothes. Given today's climate, these young people don't iron anyway, but us old heads still do. We take these things for advantage. The light bulb, you just flick on a light and don't even think about it, until it don't work anymore. And you got some light bulbs that last for years, thanks to Mr. Latimer. Then you got the refrigerated trucks that keep our food cold while being transported from place to place. You know, that's huge. Without that, I mean, food would be so costly. It would just be staggering because it would go bad so quick, and they would have to replace it all the time. So then that costs money. And yeah, but that's what happened. He made that invention to keep our food either cold, cool, or froze during long trips. That was huge. You know, the traffic light. I know it saved my life a few times. You know, it saved my life a few times. I can honestly say that. Thank you, Mr. Garrett Morgan. Thank you for thinking about the people. The gas mask. Every time you see a firefighter with a gas mask on, think about Garrett Morgan. You know, great African inventors. We got them. And there are more of us out there. And yes, my name is Stan. This has been a real talk, and it's been a pleasure bringing this information to you. Good night, everybody.